once so we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, folks. I found my voice. I've got a new voice today.
So he is back in business, guys. He's back in business.
So me and my co-host, we're going to have fun today. We're going to have an amazing show with you guys today. As you know, today's June 13th, so we're in the week of Juneteenth. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Black economics. We're going to talk about the Black spending power in our community and the economy and a host of other things. But in the meantime and in between time, co-host, how you doing?
I am wonderful. It's fantastic. This is a topic, that I love, and talking about us as people, but working on us and getting us to a place where no matter where, whether we're here in the United States or where we decide to pack up and move to another country, we got to work on wealth. We got to work on utilizing our consumer dollars so that they benefit us. And I think we're very capable of doing so. So we're just going to talk about that in honor of Juneteenth. We're going to talk to you about what Juneteenth is, what it is, and when it started. So you got to have a background, because some people don't even know what Juneteenth is. And so we got to start there. And with everything going on today in this world, Gilbert, I think it's one is way past the time of us worried about us and not letting anybody else worry about us. We just take care of us.
That is true, man. It's just like being on an airplane, right? You get a little turbulence. What do they tell you? You're on the airline with your kid, your spouse, whomever. You make sure you take your little oxygen mask first. You take care of you, then you take care of someone else. So that's what we're doing here in our Black economics program. We're taking care of ourselves first and build that level of sustainability, then we can help somebody else.
Exactly. So it's all about that. And at this point, there's a whole lot of stuff going on around us. But I think more importantly than things that about them, we need to be us. And what does that mean? And what do we need to do? And the one thing, and this is just, when we think about why we haven't, and we're going to talk about all that in our economic power, mainly is because we don't know, right? Basically, it was never taught to us. And so with that, you don't know how money works, right? No one ever sat down and had a conversation with you. Your parents never sat down and said, hey, this is how much money we have to the end of the week. And this is what we need to do in order to get through the end of the week. No one ever said that. My mom, I didn't know we were poor. I don't think we were poor. We were not poor, but there were times that we were cash insufficient. That's what we were. But
I love it.
Cash insufficient. So they're not poor, because poor gives you a different indication of what that is, and you can take that and make it appears to be negative. But cash insufficient is that you're just low on the cash. And you need to increase the cash. So.
That's right.
But I do know we as a people were not taught what that looks like. And so that's some of the problems that we have and challenges we have. So now I think we are one of the most highly educated group of people. To say that we don't have resources and to say that we are not survivors is an incorrect description of Black people, because we have survived through some horrendous stuff for 450 years in this country. And we are still alive today, and we
Hmm.
are here. And if we are here based upon what our ancestors went through, we're supposed to be here. That's how I look at it, right?
That's
And
right.
so,
And that means we've conquered some hurdles, and we're just carrying on next level of their journey.
right. And just like we tell our business owners, you got to be prepared, right? You
Yes.
can't be in business all willy nilly. You
Yeah.
have to have a plan. You have to have focus. You have to have direction. You have to have courage to take the risk and the leaps and bounds that it requires for us to actually get there. And I know personally that we do. We just need we're a little bit post traumatic syndrome going on because there's been so much going on. But I do know when when I do know that we can push that level anytime we want to, and I've seen it.
Yes. And
And
co-host, I think you need to remind our audience before we ask them to do the subscription thing and make sure they go to our page on YouTube. I want you to remind them that you are the executive director of Recycling Black Dollars, and this is your playpen. This is your ground. What we're talking about today, the black dollars, the strength of it, and the sustainability of it. So just remind our audience, co-hosts, what
Just
is
might remind them. So yes, I am the co-director of Recycle Black Dollars, and not just the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars. I live and breathe and completely understand what that means to a community. And our dollars have so much power, and we're going to go into that in a little bit. But we're just not utilizing that dollar spending power the way we should. And so we're going to learn some things today. And then we're going to this is where we need to be as a Black community. We don't need to be worried about DEI. We don't need to be worried about none of the drama that's going on out there.
none of
What we
that?
need to be worried about is how do we overcome all of this, just like our ancestors overcame it? And then how do we take that spending power, which is a big
Yes.
voice, and how do we utilize that in order to drive not for them but for ourselves
Hmm.
and build Black wealth and build it consistently, that it is with us all the time. That's where we should be. um, there's noise outside. Don't worry about that noise, because with that, if you take our dollars, that lifts us above the noise. And that's what we need to do, lift ourselves up above the noise. There is something that has been in our community for many, many years about the fact that our dollars don't circulate. And there are reasons for that within our community. But now, just like everything else, we have AI, we are completely digital now. So we don't have to use um, old additives and still utilize that to drive us forward. We have to use new technology, uh, new tools in order to move us from where we are. Because I will tell you this, when the predators come, and you guys are seeing that today, when the predators come, the predators always go after the weakest link.
Hmm.
And in this country and in this world, hey, David, in this world where capitalism is the second language, or actually is the first language, um, capitalism is what drives this country. Money is what drives this country. And so
Hmm.
if our spending dollars are $2 trillion, man, we got a
Hmm.
whole bunch of noise to make. And we're just not
Hmm.
making the noise that we need to be making, and taking that $2 trillion and putting it back into our communities and making our communities work. That will prevent folks from coming into your communities thinking that you are that weak link. Let your money talk for you. Right, David? David Brown is in. He's actually He does political race and cartoons for the Los Angeles Sentinel, and he's tuned in today. So thank you, David, for saying hello to us. But yeah, our dollars mean a lot to us, and our dollars have a lot of power. And so that's what we're gonna start off with, is how powerful our $2 trillion is, and how we can tie that into events like Juneteenth and anything else that's going on, Black History Month, Black Business Month, whatever you want to call it. We got the dollars, we got the power of the dollars. We just got to use those dollars to make it work in our community.
That's what I'm talking about. Mr. David G. Brown, welcome to the Business Zone, sir. If this is your first time, make sure you go to our page on YouTube, click that subscribe button, because we want to build up our platform as well, so we can continue to provide more resources, more opportunities to all of you small businesses out there. Our primary goal is to help small and micro businesses become business ready, contract ready, loan ready, and nonprofit ready. If you're not certified as a minority, small disadvantaged business, or a woman-owned business enterprise, you reach out to us. We can assist you with that. We teach classes on that. We hold workshops. We have coaching events on these types of things as well. If you're trying to bid government contracts, never bid one before, you bid, but you've never been successful, you reach out to us. We teach classes in that as well. Teach you how to write a strong proposal so you can win government contracts. Those are the types of things we do. And guess what? The lifeblood of your business is your finances. If that's not in order, guess who's going to help you with that? You got Coach Crystal here. That's her forte. That's what she does. She looks at your books, looks at the finances, look at the accounts, tell you what's going on, let you know if you're ready to be contract ready, business ready, or if you're ready to be Olympics ready. Olympics are coming up in 2028, guys. So you better be ready to start bidding on some of those procurement opportunities and provide services to those entities. So my coach, Crystal, I'm telling you, man, I don't need to say much. She's just phenomenal. She's known not just locally, not just regionally, but nationally. She has taken so many entrepreneurs to competitions in New York and all over the place, guys. And guess what? Out of a pool of 600 young entrepreneurs, we're talking youth entrepreneurs, okay? Out of a pool of 600, my co-host here, she has prepared these entrepreneurs to win. They come in first, second, third, and fourth consecutively in the same competition, not separate competition now. We're talking the same competition. So we've got competency here on this side of the fence. Okay, guys? So make sure you reach out to us. Now, my co-host is going to pop up our QR code on the screen so you guys can subscribe. Go ahead, co-host.
There it is. So hit that subscribe button, guys. Go over to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and hit that. You can hit the subscribe button. You can use QR code here to take you there. But we're growing our channel. We're actually in the next couple of weeks, actually in a few days now, launching a newsletter to augment our show. And so you'll get some behind the scenes and how we actually came up with the titles, and some more details and some resources and some tips from Gilbert and I. We're both business coaches, been doing this for quite a long time. And that is what we're here. I know that's my purpose for being here, is helping my community and helping businesses reach their ultimate success levels, and both adults and young people. And as Gilbert said, one of my biggest passions is introducing young people to entrepreneurship and launching businesses. And I get to kick that off next Monday on the 16th. We are going into our summer. I am going into my summer season, and my summer season is a dedication of my skill sets and passions with young people ages 13 to 18. So we are getting started on Monday, and I'm excited with this new group of kids. Just met them, and so throughout the next month, couple of months, because June and July, you guys will hear me talking about the kids. I'll be excited every Friday about them and sharing some of the great things that we do. And if you want to be a volunteer and you're in Los Angeles, just reach out to me and you can come over and check out our kids. This year, we're doing something different. We are hosting El Camino College, Junior College is actually hosting us, the Biz Camp, the Los Angeles Urban League Biz Camp on their campus. So the kids will be going to 13-year-olds will be going to college campus in El Segundo, in Torrance, for the next 3 weeks or next 6 weeks, actually. So this is it's going to be kind of cool and preparing them for the future.
Man, that makes me feel so proud, co-host. You are like a beacon, man. You're that North Star that these small young entrepreneurs are striving to follow. You're that guide that they need. Take them to the promised land. Take them to those opportunities and becoming entrepreneurs. A1, top of the line, prime cut entrepreneurs. You see what I'm saying? Once they get to that ready point, they can start bidding government contracts and making millions, man. Because, like we say here on the Business Zone, guys, you cannot get rich working for someone else unless you own your own business. And that business, the person that hired you as a family member, then maybe you can start seeing some real money. But you're working for someone else, you're not going to get rich. So start your own business. Every person I come across, co-host, ask them what they do, and they say, I work at this organization. How long you been working there? I'm working there 7 years. Okay, all right, here's a plan. Need to start thinking about starting your own business, because after 7 years of working in an industry, you kind of have some know-how as to how to navigate in and out of that industry. So if you can take that know-how, apply that to your own organization, start your own venture, believe me, you're gonna be in a better position, take care of yourself, your family, and perhaps your community. So that's what I'm pushing. That's what I'm advocating. Student loans and all of those things, I'm not an advocate. I'm anti-student loans, guys. So I want you guys to know that you don't need to go belabor yourself taking out student loans, and then after you get done in about 5-6 years, you can't pay it off. Now you have that burden riding on your shoulders. Can't get a loan. You can't get a mortgage. You can't get a rent because your credit score is down because of this bogus student loans that they keep compounding your interest every day. And that's kind of why we're here today talking about Juneteenth, because Juneteenth, it's celebrated next week. But a lot of folks, they really still don't understand the dynamics of Juneteenth and the significance of it. So we're going to go over that today. We're going to show you can tie Juneteenth into economic growth for yourself, your business, and your community. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. So go ahead, co-host.
All righty. So we're getting ready to get started. I am going to start off our Juneteenth with, for me, Gilbert, and I don't know about you, but for me, freedom is having money to do what you want when you want it, right?
That's right.
It
You don't have to
relieves
ask anybody about it.
You don't have to ask anyone for anything. And one of it gives you your own sense of peace, because if something comes up, you have the money to take care of it. And that's what we're talking about. Economic empowerment is freedom. And you don't have, and I don't know about you, but for me, if my pockets are a little emptier than I want them to be, than what I deem to be my place of comfort, it really works with my psyche,
Yeah.
and um, and and it works with how you feel about yourself, right? Because you
Hmm.
feel limited. The one thing I know about me, it may be a flaw or it may be an asset, but I hate to be limited. I hate to
Yeah.
feel like I'm limited. I hate the restrictions of being limited. I hate everything about you cornering me and making me feel less of a person. So that's my little flaw. And so
And
money gives me
what
freedom.
what I learned, co-host, what I learned is that Juneteenth is the oldest national and internationally celebrated holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States of America. Okay. Not too many people know that. They're thinking of all other holidays, but Juneteenth is the one because when did that start? I think it started in 1865, correct?
Well, actually,
1865.
the rest of the country, the rest of
Yeah,
the southern
for the rest of
states,
the country.
they had their freedom
Yeah,
in 1960 1862 62
free.
3,
Yeah,
and then in Galveston, Texas, um, they were not told that they were
no,
free,
no.
and so
Now think
therefore
about that for a second. Why were they not told? Does it seem like a common type of situation going on here? They weren't told, guys. They weren't told. That means these slave owners got an extra 2 years of free production, free slave trade, free slave labor out of our ancestors. You think about that.
well, if you guys remember the presentation that the show that we did a couple months ago about uh, when was America the greatest, and that greatness came because of the free labor that they had. So that kind of ties back to that yeah, they didn't tell them because heck, that was another 2 years of free labor. That's why they
Hmm.
didn't tell them. That's just
Hmm.
bottom line.
Yeah.
And so it was around much longer and it's being celebrated all over the world, as Gilbert
Yeah.
said, globally, nationally, and internationally. And for most of us as Black people, and now I believe there are a lot of people of all races that recognize that what Juneteenth stands for. So Juneteenth commemorates the African American freedom and emphasizes education and achievement. It is a day, a week, in some areas, a month marked with celebrations. We usually have guests, speakers, and events that's going on. Fathering, sometimes it's just about you and your family, right? So family
Hmm.
gathering. It don't have to be big. It don't, just as long as you acknowledge freedom and
Hmm.
celebrate freedom. And so, but you want to use that time to reflect and you want to rejoice. And it's also a time, which is what we're doing today. It's a time of
Hmm.
assessment, self improvement, and planning for the future. So Gilbert and I are kicking it off with planning for the future from an economic standpoint. And I think that is a wonderful place to start, especially when we talk about the consumer power that we possess and the amount of money that we spend. So, yes, the people of Texas were informed about the proclamation from the executive of the United States that all slaves were free, but they weren't free. But there are some actually, Gilbert. I get this part, but
Hmm.
I saw a story on HBO recently. It may have been
Hmm.
HBO, or it may have been um, or it may have been Prime, but there was a young lady. Her name is based upon a true story. Her name was Alice, and
Hmm.
she and her family were still in slavery in 1965.
Oh my Lord. See, now that's what I'm talking. See, that's the direct replica of what I'm saying here. So in Galveston, Texas, they held that information back for 2 years But here's this other lady, they've done it for decades longer, where she still didn't know she was free.
And,
Now, the one thing I did do, and I did a little calculation here. So you figure 3.4 million slaves back then, right? So
mm-hmm,
each one of those slave owners were pulling about a million a year on all of the slaves they had, the production, all of that stuff, a million a year, right? So you
mm-hmm.
figure a million a year times 3.4. That's 6.8 million these people made in 2 years just by not telling the slaves they were free. 6.8 mil. They made an extra 6.8 mil, man. So you can just imagine this lady. Oh man, how much they made off her.
Oh yeah,
Whew.
because her and her family, they
Mhm.
were somewhere in Georgia, and this is based on a true story. This
Wow.
is not fantasy.
Yeah.
They lived in Georgia, and the plantation it was overgrown with
Hmm.
trees and stuff, and they stayed in this little cul-de-sac with this grouping of other white families, and
Hmm.
they worked for them. And so 1865 or 1863 is the emancipation, but she took her freedom. She actually had to
Hmm.
run away, and she didn't know because there was no
Yeah.
TVs, no
Right.
books, no nothing, and she just had a sense that there was something beyond this forest that she couldn't go past a certain a place, and so she took her freedom. And when she walked outside of this freedom, it was in 1965, right at the time when everybody was marching for freedom, for civil rights during Martin Luther King's time, naturals, bell bottoms, all those things. And she saw a world, and then she went back and got her people, her family,
So
her immediate family.
So she probably, when she escaped, she probably was wondering, how come they're not chasing me? What's going on? They're supposed to chase me and fire shots at me. They're not doing that. This is suspicious. Then she started checking. Oh, we're already free. That's why they're not
Well, they
chasing
actually would have been chasing her because they didn't want her not to know that. She just knocked them out and ran away. That's why they didn't chase her, because he didn't want her or her family to know that there was a world outside of the border
Dang.
of these trees of where this house was. And so you guys can check it out. It's called Alice. It blew me away, and I didn't think it
Wow.
was real, and I had to do my research. So no, that is the reason. So Juneteenth is a time, and it's not about us just barbecuing. It really, or whatever that is. So when there's some people that are very skeptical about Juneteenth, but you
Yeah.
make it what you need it to be. But one
Yeah.
thing you want your children to know is that this is their history, and no matter how someone is trying to take our history away from us, our
Yeah.
history is embedded in our DNA, and
Right.
nobody can take that away from you. So
That's
just know
correct.
that. So,
That's correct. And for those of you who are wondering, when is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is June 19th. Okay. June 19th. That's when it's celebrated every year. President Biden made it a federal holiday. Federal. Even though there are people out there trying to hide it and not make it known that it's a federal holiday. If the government is trying to make it work on Juneteenth, then you need to talk to the Department of Labor because you got some money coming to you. There's no way you should be working on June 19th. If it's a weekday, if it's a weekend, you're off. But if it's a weekday and they're making you work, that's a federal holiday, guys. So just so you know, because since they're withholding information, they're not telling you. We're going to do our best here at the Business Zone to let you know. And for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30, and we are here to provide entrepreneurs with information that will help them to become business ready, contract ready, loan ready, and even nonprofit ready. Now we have two amazing, what we call super consultants here. One of them is Coach Crystal Mitchell, She's been in the industry from the beginning of time. And I've also been in the industry since the beginning of time. I've been in the industry a little after Juneteenth. When it first started.
Feels like a long time,
A
but
long time.
yeah, but here's the thing about entrepreneurship and business ownership, Gilbert. So many of our ancestors prior to um, slavery or after slavery, obviously there was no jobs for you, so you had to create your own. And
That's
so
right.
again, entrepreneurship is embedded in our DNA as well. We had to
Hmm.
start businesses out of necessity, and when I speak to young people, when I speak to adults, the primary reason for creating a business is to identify a problem, and your business is the solution to that problem,
That's
and then
right.
you build that business to make it uniquely uniquely serving that space. And and you want competitors, because that's the only way you can get better, is to know that you're in competition with somebody out there,
Yeah.
right? And but you have to come up with your underlining magic and why a person would spend their money with you versus with anyone else. And so it's important that as business owners, you create that differential between you and your competitors. And so that could be whatever you feel, whatever is driving the target market that you're going after. In my case, mine's, I like to say, I provide the utmost in customer service to my clients. They can go anywhere they want, but will they get me? No, because I'm the underlining magic in my business and in the things that I do. And Gilbert is a expert in the space, and his underlining magic is the fact that he is well versed and very knowledgeable on both sides of how to be contract ready. And so those are the things that keep your customers coming back to you. And I like to say, and this is anyone else out there, while we're talking about wealth, I think the greatest compliment is when you no longer have to introduce yourself. The world already knows who you are, and they become your walking billboard.
There you go.
And when you get the people, they're like, "Hey, aren't you Crystal? I met you so and so and so." And everybody talks about you, and you get your reputation gets there before you do. That, I think, is the ultimate in customer service and that underlining magic.
Yeah. When you got other people being your bio, they're being your buyer, they're speaking of you, your biography, and you don't have to say squat diddly. You just let
Squat
them
diddly.
speak of you.
Squat diddly.
Squat diddly. You don't have to say squat diddly. You just let them speak of you. Oh, Crystal, I know her. It's been 20 years since I know her. She's done a lot of work with nonprofits. She's done help these churches. She helped these businesses become funding ready, finance ready, their balance sheet, spreadsheets looking good, statement of cash flow. She put them in a position that when they go in front of banks looking for finances, banks say, "Wow, I like this. Your ratios are good. Your debt to equity ratio is good. Your paperwork looking good. I like this. Let's do business." That's the kind of thing we talk about, man. So my co-host, she's been doing this for a while. And the part that I love most about what she does, I know she doesn't like to talk about it, so I'll be her cheerleader, and I'll be that bio for her. Okay, she doesn't like to talk about this, but the part I love most about her is when she prepares these youth entrepreneurs to be ready to pitch their business and also speak about the financial aspect of their business. They're talking about ratios. They're talking about contribution margins. They're talking about all of these things. I'm going, wow, this is amazing. These are kids. They're 15, 16, 13-year-old kids talking about that. A lot of adult entrepreneurs don't even know those phrases. They don't know those things. That's what my co-host does. She prepares kids for entrepreneurship. And see, when we were growing up, we didn't really have too many adults helping us, guiding us, preparing us to be entrepreneurs. What do? Go to school. You need to go do this. Even if we don't know what we want to do, they're pushing us in school. So we take these stupid courses that makes no sense to us, like liberal arts, women's studies and all of that stuff that we can't make money on. Oh man, it is so unbelievable. And then when we take those stupid courses, then we have to take out student loans to fund it. And guess what? We get out, we owe all this large amount of money in student loans, and then we can't get a job to sustain to pay that back. So that's why we push entrepreneurships on this channel, guys. Entrepreneurship, you got to do it. So we started with the youth. We started preparing their minds, putting them in the direction and the position so that they can become their own co-host. You have this one young entrepreneur. She's a female. She does hair care products, and you've been coaching and mentoring her for years. And she went on the national stage, and now she's got her own product out there, right? I think
She
it's called
does.
hair. What is it called?
Curly Crowns.
Curly
Her
Crown.
business called Curly Crowns. She actually is graduating from college. I just saw her on Wednesday night. I was at the Los Angeles Urban League Gala, and she was there. And her products are selling in. She has been in beauty
Right?
beauty supply stores as well. And when she gets, I asked her on Wednesday. So, she's graduating from the University of San Francisco. And I said, so what's next? She goes, I got to get out there and hustle my business now.
That's what
So,
I'm talking about.
so you guys can go over to her website, which is called Curly Crowns. And if you're looking for that hair care product that will treat your hair just right and keep it soft, and go on over there and buy it. And on her website, I'll put her information in. Very proud of her. That was she's obviously graduating from college. And in fact, if you guys would like, let me show you.
You started with her when she was what, in high school?
She was 13.
13. My co-host started with her, coaching her when she was 13. Now she's graduating from college.
She's graduating from college. And yes, she has become the poster child for Nifty, which is the network that that provides the course for us. But she's not my only one. So that was when she was 13. She went to nationals probably about 2 years later. Since that time, I've had several. I've had Christian Luna. He had a company where he made baskets for succulents, and he went to regionals. I've had last year, we had Lucille, and Lucille went from regionals to nationals to internationals.
Oh my Lord.
And so he is out there doing his thing. I am so proud of him. I saw him on Wednesday as well. And Lucille is graduating from high school and on his way to to Berkeley University. And so he has an app. It's AI driven, and it's called Scholar Brilliance, and it's actually in functional form right now. And so he is going to Berkeley.
What does the app do?
The app, what it does is it helps with an AI assisted component to it. Doesn't write it, but it helps assist young students that are heading to college to write their essays. But it also directs them to scholarships that they can apply for. And it's been tried and used. And so I'm just so excited about him. And he's also our poster child, and he is doing extremely well. And so they were at this gala, and they were just doing their thing out there. I was never so proud. And when I walked up, they're like, Miss Crystal. And so, of course, that felt extremely good. Let me just share my screen a little bit so you guys can see. And these are like my babies. And so this one here is Miss Amila. She's sitting there. She was 13 years old. Is it coming up? Let me see.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's right there
Okay.
on the side. Oh,
All right. So
is she being interviewed right there? Is
she's
that it?
being interviewed. There she is. And you will see her with several members of the community. You will see her with Supervisor Holly Mitchell. And then that
Oh,
is us. And she's been in the company of Mayor Bass. And that is her
man. Co-host, I'm so proud of you,
business
man. You
there.
don't even
And
know
so, you
the
know, you got
impact
to be
that you
proud when you
the impact you're putting on these young
this is
entrepreneurs,
how
man. Exactly, man. That's what we do. That's what we're here
this
for.
is
You know,
Yeah, that's what
this is
we're here for.
amazing.
So
This
my
is
young the young man, Lucio, he's become a little celebrity. I'm proud of him, and I had about 4 or 5 of them that are going on. So that brings us to how, as our topic today is, and Gilbert, you can kick us off. What is that correlation between Juneteenth and the economic growth in the Black community? So I think we've kind of set it up to you guys understanding exactly how important our freedom was. It's not necessarily Juneteenth. It's just how important our freedom was, and how do we use it to the best of our abilities.
yes, exactly. Now, one of the things that we want to put out there here on the Business Zones, guy, is that if we were to compare Juneteenth and that period of celebration and that period of commercialism, we can compare it with the Hispanic Heritage Month, where you have Hispanics, they celebrate their heritage throughout the month, where they talk about their businesses, they talk about entrepreneurship, they talk about growth in their community, they talk about their spending power and all of that. You've got other groups. You've got the Asian groups. They've got also their area of celebration, how they use their economics to generate revenues for their business during that time of celebration, and it increases their GDP. So it's the same thing here with Juneteenth, guy. Even though it's one day, we usually celebrate it for the second half of the month, and that's when we start providing this information. Now, Juneteenth is recognized as a symbolic driver of the cultural recognition, economic awareness, and it has gained national recognition. On a federal level, in 2021, it was made a federal holiday, guys, and that's why I keep saying this to you. If you don't know Juneteenth is a holiday, you need to go do some research because that day is a holiday. You don't need to go to work. If you have a job, if you're an entrepreneur, then you're going to do entrepreneur things on that day. But if you are an employee, you work a 9 to 5, and you work in an organization, that day is a day off for you to recoil, do things with your family, do things with other entrepreneurs in that space. So what has happened is over the years, because people celebrate on Juneteenth, and some of the things that we see in the Black community when it comes to Black economics is that folks in the food and catering uh, area, the industries, we see an increase in the revenues and also the purchases. So people are buying meats, barbecues, those types of things, chicken, or they're having events, they're having parties, they're having functions, which helps to generate more money in the community, and that's what we want to see. Now, my co-host is going to explain to you guys in a little bit the importance of having that money generation in the community and be able to help it sustain within the community, because as we know, For those of you who don't know right now, I just want to put it out there, and we're going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it again until you really it stays in your brain. But the black dollar, it stays 6 hours in the community, in the black community, 6 hours. That means if you get paid at 10 o'clock this morning, 10 o'clock, by 4 o'clock, that money is gone out of our community. It's gone somewhere else. You spent it on something else that's not related to Black entrepreneurship or Black purchases or Black economics. So then that money goes outside of the community. Now, my co host, as the co director of Recycling Black Dollars, that's her part of our responsibility to help sustain that money within the community. Other groups, their money stay 21 days in their community. And for some people, it even stays weeks in their communities, other groups. So we want to get to that point where our money is staying a much longer period of time in our community. What does that mean? That means if you are a Black business, you want to have customers who will purchase your product or services. Then that money that's generated is spent on other African American purchases or services. And you just keep recycling that. That's why we call it recycling the black dollars. And that's what my co-host does. You recycle that black dollars until it touches at least 10 hands. 10 hands we want it to touch. If it touches 10 hands, then we know it's going to stay longer in the Black community. It's going to help the GDP, and it's going to help the spending power. Right now, we've got a spending power of $2 trillion, guys. $2 trillion annually is our spending power. That's what we've been spending into the community. It was 1.7 trillion, but over the last few years, we've stepped it up and we're spending a lot more. So when we spend more, we want to generate more. So that's really what we're promoting this, and we're tying Juneteenth to that economic power and awareness that we do. So, co-host, you want to take it from here?
Yes. So as Ober said, that's significant, right? And we've been growing. And for a long time, I've been on this soapbox for a minute. We were at 1.3 trillion. And as you can see, throughout the pandemic, which was 5 years ago, when the world stopped, somehow or another, we managed to increase. We've closed in that gap, and we've gotten to $2 trillion. Not quite sure how, but we did. And the growing trend for us is that the projections will double by 2030. So we're in 2025. That means in 5 years, that will be $4 trillion that we will be spending. So what does that mean? So that means that the Black people, the Black culture, the Black language, the Black everything, those $2 trillion have a significant influence on marketers and big consumer and individuals that are looking for consumers to purchase their products. So Black consumers are known to be highly engaged on digital platforms and are more likely to expect brands to align with their values and their social causes. And so when that happens, so as many companies that flipped and decided that DEI wasn't important to them anymore, what that meant was you no longer were aligned with our values and our social causes, right? So what did that mean? That meant we stopped spending money with you. And with the Targets and the Walmarts and whoever decided that our dollar, that we as a people weren't significant to them anymore, which then meant that our dollars were no longer significant to you. Well, I don't know. You can't poo-poo $2 trillion. You really cannot, right? And so right now, so what that means is we can start directing that $2 trillion back to our own communities, right? Because we are aligned with each other. And so your dollar should be aligned with your value system. Your dollar should be in line with your social causes, and your dollars should be aligned with resources that help us grow as a people. And so, if we don't want to be if you don't want to recognize us on this side, then we'll move our dollars to a place where they will be recognized, right? Because money speaks louder than BS. That's what they tell me. And so the opportunities for businesses and for people to cater to the unique needs and preferences of us as Black consumers. Just having that opportunity gives you a gain on a competitive edge, right? So if you're marketing your dollars to us as a people, and you're sharing our values and our causes, then, and you're showing us that you respect us and you respect that money power, then at that point, okay, I can buy your product. But if you're not doing that, my principles say, I'm sorry, I can't spend my dollars with you. I literally haven't spent one dime with Tommy Hilfiger since 1991.
Wow,
because he made
amazing.
the point that he did not want Black people to buy his products. So I don't care what it is. I don't care how cute it is. You don't get my dollars. Those are my dollars. I work for those dollars. And that's how I spend my money. I spend my money based upon people that recognize the power. So the Black dollar is not just the purchasing power. It refers to our collective economics and social impact, the social impact of Black consumers, including their influence on trends, businesses, and community development. And if that is not happening, if you're not recognizing, and if they're not recognizing you, then we need to now use that $2 trillion, and redirect that money back into our community. And so our call to action right now is for businesses to prioritize their diversity, their equity, their inclusion. Don't listen to anybody else that is speaking to you if you are in business and you're a corporation. Unless that's what you really feel, then don't be afraid to speak it. Tell us, and we'll just redirect our dollars, and we will, because that means you're not in line with who we are, what we are, and what our values are. But do know this, guys, if you see any commercial, you'll see representation of who we are, right? You'll hear our music, you'll see you'll see the dress, you'll see the slang, we'll see the euphemisms we use and create really creative and powerful people.
That's right.
Everything you see, something we just didn't pull out of the sky. What we've done is McKinsey and this report actually comes from Black Enterprise, and that report is coming from let me see, it's actually coming from the Nielsen's diverse intelligence series. So every year you can go to the Nielsen's report and you can see exactly, and that's how much power we have, because there is a report put out every single year on the likes and dislikes of the Black consumer. Every single year since I've been in business, and I've been in business over 30 years. So no, when you hear certain trends, like, guys, we use the word BAE, BAE, that came from the Black community, period, that came from the Black community. These are those are euphemisms that were created by who, Gilbert? Us, right? And so you find those, Black community, and you find those embedded in commercials, right?
Yes.
When Lamar Kendrick Lamar came out with Black Like Not Like Us. Man, I didn't seen that all
Yeah.
over the internet, all over everywhere.
Oh
And
yeah.
it hasn't been us marketing because we don't have those kind of budgets. But I didn't see Not Like Us used in every capacity on any movie theater. Here's how powerful that $1 trillion and our influence is on corporations, not just nationally, but internationally. I am a fan of Korean dramas, and I see the dance, the movement. I even hear our slang terminologies. I hear the word "bay." I hear it, and it's spoken in Korean. I hear it in. I watch Indian movies, Southeast Asian movies. I see it in their elaborate line dancing. Where did that come from? That came from us. I see it in Africa. I see it when they're wearing their Adidas and their Congo hats. Where did that come from? That came from America. And so do not tell me that our dollar does not have influence, because I'm sorry, I just can't buy it.
Well, I really want to shout out the corporate partnerships that have been formed by corporations and the Black businesses, the Black community, in promoting Black economics. We talked a little bit about Target earlier. Now, they got caught up in the DEI propaganda that was out there. So they acted a little strangely, and it came back to bite them in the butt, because then they start removing some of the Black entrepreneurs and vendors who were doing business with them, because they didn't want to be labeled a DEI participant. Which I don't understand why DEI is such a horrible title. DEI just mean that, I mean, ever since the feminist movement, everybody's saying we want equality. The civil rights movement, people are saying we want equality. And that's really what DEI is all about, equality. You're trying to make sure that everyone has an equal chance to do certain things. You're not limiting them because of their color, their creed, or where they're from. So that's what DEI is all about. But something got put out there, and for some reason, Target was one of the organizations who thought that they didn't want to identify with that because it's going to make them look a certain way. Well, that really impacted their revenue, because when they try to shut down the Black vendors, the Black entrepreneurs who are doing business with them, then they find that the supporters of those businesses, who a lot of them were Black and some were non-Blacks too, who supported those Black businesses, they decided to withhold their purchasing from them. So their stocks went down tremendously, and they realized, wow, this DEI stuff is good for us. I don't know why we ever thought that we should pay attention to the negative people out there who are trying to spin it in a negative way. So then they start re-sponsoring the partnership and strengthen the partnership between Black entrepreneurs and the corporation named Target. Now, as my co-host said, the Black community are trendsetters. They do a lot of things that are out there being adopted by other cultures across the world, and that has money to it. The music that we produce and promote and market, that's a big trend seller. A lot of people make money off that, billions of dollars off the Black music, whether it's rap or whether it's soul, whether it's jazz. They have an influence in the marketplace. And recently we saw, the Kendrick Lamar performance at the Super Bowl, and some people were cringing, saying, that doesn't belong here. This is not what we do. But the people showed that the opposite of that, because more and more people were supporting Kendrick Lamar, his message, his music, his dances, and everything. So people from all cultures were participating. I love seeing those videos, co-hosts, on YouTube and on TikTok, where we see the different cultures doing not like us. I've seen Native Americans, I've seen the Latinos, I've seen Caucasians, I've seen, all these groups, even the Jewish people were out there
Old people,
doing not,
old
yeah, old
people.
people, young people, little babies, like 2 years old out there doing not like us. So I just thought that was so amazing. That's so welcoming because it's showing that unity. The culture is unified. And all we got to do is just demonstrate that the resources, the product, the services that we're offering is something that can be shared across different cultures. Now, Amazon also, they've extended themselves to show support for Black businesses. They've donated to Black economics, the initiative for the Juneteenth campaigns and any other related Juneteenth campaigns have done that. Google have done that too. So I just want to shout out those organizations that we know do that, the Targets, the Amazon, the Googles, and for those other organizations who have not started yet, I want to encourage you guys to start because really, this is a great way for us to promote and strengthen communities. We know a lot of reasons why many of our communities don't thrive. We understand the whole redlining concept, how certain groups in the black community is being cordoned off in a certain kind of way through redlining. So it really restricts growth, but we grow in spite of that. We have our culture, we have our resources, and we just market across cultural barriers and cultural boundaries. And that's what we're doing, guys. Now, we're here in California, and I'm so proud to say this. We're here in California, broadcasting live from California, the business zone. We're here in California. And guess what? California is the fourth largest economy in the world, guys. And California is only a state. And we're talking in comparison to countries, the fourth largest economy. The fourth. All right. That means India and Japan, they're behind us in this. So California generated over 4.28 trillion. That's their GDP. California. We sustain many of the other states in this United States. The red states, the blue states, we support them because we're the highest earner. We're generating the most here. So what I'm saying is that working together with different ethnicities, different groups will help to build GDP and it will help to sustain your communities. So I'm hoping that folks will start looking out to doing business with other minorities, in the African American communities, other groups, other types of businesses, because this can really help your GDP. We provide a lot of services. I myself provide coaching, consulting, professional services, labor compliance, contract compliance, help with certifications, government certification. I teach workshop. I coach small businesses. My co-host, she does bookkeeping, accounting. She does a lot of coaching herself, guidance. She does speaking and motivational speaking to the young entrepreneurs. She coached them, guide them, make them winners. So this is just some of what we do. There's so much more to be had from the Black economics. So, folks, I think this is something that we all need to embrace. As a matter of fact, part of our campaign is to start doing business across international borders. We're looking at doing business in other countries right now because of what we do. People really love the culture. They love some of the services and products that we offer. And those are the types of things we're trying to establish partnerships, international partnerships with. So we can boost the GDP, we can boost the revenues, we can sustain our communities, we can hire more people, and we can grow the business. So that's what we're trying to do, guys. And I just wanted to show you how Juneteenth and Black economics can really thrive and make your community grow. co-host.
Right. And so, so again, that call to action is as we just demonstrated how valuable that buying consumer power is, and that it actually does get noticed. And so, in a country that is up in arms about the diversity that is here in this country, and specifically right now, Los Angeles is being targeted. So here's one of the things I do want you guys to know is that Los Angeles is a very large place. we
Yes.
we are, I think Mayor Bass said, how large was Los Angeles? I think it's like 500 and I don't know
500 square miles.
square miles. And
Yeah.
so in that, that's big. So when you guys
Yeah.
are hearing that you're 502, almost round up to 503 square miles. So you're hearing that Los Angeles is having riots and is being destroyed. That is not true. Not
Not
at
true.
all. The little area that is being affected in Los Angeles is very minute compared to, it's like a 3 block radius
Yeah.
compared to the city of Los Angeles. I live
Yeah.
in Los Angeles proper, and I am probably about 5, maybe 10 miles from where this area is. This is for those of you that are resided and have visited Los Angeles. All of this is taking place downtown near the Santee Alley, as well as where the federal building and the courthouse is. I'm about 5 miles, 10 miles from there. Gilbert, you must be about 10, 15 miles from here.
That's correct.
Anywhere else in this, if you're driving in Los Angeles, if you wasn't tuned into the news, you never even know that it was happening,
Mhm.
because that's how it's not affecting the rest of our city. Los Angeles, as Gilbert, the state of California, is, as he said, the fourth largest um, uh,
Economy in the world.
economy. A lot of that comes from the city of Los Angeles.
Yes.
A lot of that GDP is positioned in the city of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a city of culture and very a diversity from the very beginning. We have the likes of every type of business. We're one of the largest manufacturing states in the country, side other than the South. And so, and we still have operational manufacturers and factories here in Los Angeles. So do not be, I've been getting calls all week long asking, am I okay? I am perfectly fine. And so is everybody else that I know. Unfortunately, there are things happening in that very concentrated area. But I will say, and you guys may have learned this when you were in high school, maybe not. If you were born and raised in Los Angeles, you did learn this. The state of California used to be called the California of Republic. It did not belong to the United States. It
That's right.
belonged to Mexico.
That's right.
And so there were some very wealthy Mexican families that lived all up and down the coastline, which is why all of the cities have Spanish names: San Jose, San Pablo, all of these, and many of our streets have Spanish names. And that is the reason why. And so, as a sanctuary city, and a sanctuary state is because of that. It's because if before them and living coexisting together was the Native Americans that also lived in the state of California before it became a recognized state in the United States. So just understand history cannot be erased. History is a valuable part of understanding the who, the where, and the why, where you started, where you came from, and where you're going. History is very important. So I just felt I needed to say that because people
Oh, for
have
sure.
been losing their minds
Yeah.
over what's happening here in Los Angeles. And also, the military is here They're here and stationed in two places. They are at the VA, which is on the other side of the city in Westwood, and they're at the federal building. And those are the only places they are. They're guarding them because there was no need for them. Our police department is well adequate to take care of this city. And it has been doing that. And so just understand what is happening. Do not believe everything you see. Do your own research, guys. It's very, very important. And I've put I've put some things in our chat, and you can see it on YouTube, and you probably can on Facebook. Um, Anytime you are a annual report, and it's been going on for the last 20-25 years, your dollar is very significant.
Yes. Yes.
The Nelson report has been coming out for 25 years. The McKinsey report has been coming out somewhere around 20 something years. This is where they go to start the process every single year of what's going on and what are the trends and what are the likes and dislikes of of your consumer. And the one thing tells me that that black dollar means a lot because you got a whole we got a whole report that's dedicated to us every single year. So don't buy into the hype. Understand that there are reasons behind what they're doing. And as welcome Foyard, I'm not quite sure what your real name is, but welcome. He talks about the Tulsa Massacre, the Black Wallet, and Wall Street. And at one point, we were a thriving community. Everyone knows about I hope, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But that wasn't the only Black Wall Street. We had 10, 15 of them across the country. And so again, with very little means, really no means, once they were freed from slavery, they created businesses out of nothing. And those businesses were quite profitable. Those businesses were destroyed by people who say they don't want to live amongst us, but they also don't want to, they don't want us to have, they don't want us to be separated either. So you got to take it, you got to take that all with a grain of salt, because if you wanted us to be separated, then my goodness, you would let us go on and do our thing, right? Just
That's true.
if you don't want us to be in your backyard, we don't want to be in your backyard. We can take care of self.
That's
So
right.
and that I just want you guys. So that economic piece is extremely important, and not just Los Angeles. You have some very successful Black people all over this country. All over the state, the country. You have Chicago, you have Atlanta, Georgia, you have Detroit, you have we're
Even
everywhere.
Florida. Even Florida.
Florida,
Yeah.
even Florida.
Miami.
Hello, Daniel Lawson. Welcome to the Business Zone. And so we just want you to know, guys, this whole program today was that Juneteenth is about us. It's about celebration. It's about reflection. It's about understanding who we are, why we are, and the power that we carry. We have been in this country for 450 years. We have suffered a lot. But in that suffering, we're still managing to keep our hope and our optimism that one day we will get past this. And but I do know this, that we have to come together as a people, and we have to support our own Black businesses. We have to go back and recreate our Wall Streets and our Tulsas and our Durham or South Carolina. We can do this, guys. I know we can do this. We have to support our children. We have to give back. We have to find our way to give back to the people that look like us, feel like us. And then what we need to do once we get us together, then we need to unite with the Hispanic and the Latin communities, and we need to commune with the Asian community. Because here's the real truth, guys. The Caucasian population represents 7% across the world. The other is all minorities, people of color. So know that we are actually bigger than what we are. If you travel outside the United States, you can see that race is a concept or construct that was created for separation. But just know that is not the case when you go to other countries. And so um, but we can get past this. We really truly can get past this. But there are some things that we do have to do. One thing we have to do is learn how money really works, educate ourselves in financial literacy, and understand that money speaks so much louder than anything else out there. In fact, it stands and shouts from the rooftops.
Now, one thing that I want to put out there, guys, so everyone understand this. We're talking about Juneteenth today. We're speaking about how it relates to Black economics and the country's GDP. And I just want to let you know that even though some of these programs are not talked about, they're not mentioned, they do exist. And this is going to be somewhat of an announcement and a PSA to many of you entrepreneurs. Doesn't necessarily have to be Black entrepreneurs, it could be any entrepreneur, as long as you're willing to team up with a Black entrepreneur and tap into these programs and opportunities, work together and strengthen, because together we're stronger, together we're stronger, together we're stronger. I'm saying that I want to burn it into your mind. Together we're stronger. Okay. Here's the deal. The private sector and corporation develop programs that many of us don't know about. They kind of have these, but if you don't tap on the door and say, "Hey, how about this program?" you don't know it exists. So here are some programs that exist that I want many of you Black entrepreneurs to start thinking about. Take notes if you can. All right. JP Morgan Chase, they have a program called Advancing Black Pathways. Advancing Black Pathways. It's JP Morgan Chase. It's a $30 billion commitment. $30 billion commitment that they have made to Black entrepreneur and Black economics. Now, many people haven't heard of it. This has been going on since 2020. Remember COVID? Okay, 2020 to 2025. So this ends in about 6 months. So 2020 to 2025, JP Morgan Chase has a program that it's called Advancing Black Pathways, $30 billion commitment, okay? Now, they're looking to advance racial equity through homeownership assistance. Homeownership. How many of you have tried to purchase a home within the last 3 or 4 years? All right. So homeownership assistance, small business lending. Small business lending. Now, I want to put something out there to all of you because I've been saying this for years on YouTube, Facebook, and all these programs, LinkedIn, all of these programs, okay? Small businesses, we do not need loans unless we're going to buy a building or we're going to purchase equipment, machinery, those types of things. The only time we need loans. Most of the time, we need lines of credits, guys, lines of credit. If you get a government contract, you need some extra funding as leverage so you can purchase material, you can hire employees until you get paid from your contract. So you need a line of credit. So Chase, JP Morgan Chase, they've got this $30 billion commitment that they've made to Black entrepreneurs, right, which ends at the end of this year, 2025. So those of you who have not knocked on that door yet, you need to start knocking right now. You only have 6 months left. So they have it for homeownership assistance, small business lending, which I want you to talk about small business lines of credit instead of lending. Financial literacy programs. Those things happen. And the reason I know it happened because I used to be the director of the entrepreneurship program for the Los Angeles Urban League. And during that time, we would launch a lot of workshop and training program for the financial literacy program that JP Morgan Chase had. So I know it exists. Diverse hiring and career development, they do have that, guys. They do have that. So that's what the 30 billion is going to fund. Those four bullet areas: home ownership assistance, small business lending slash lines of credit, financial literacy, and diverse hiring and career development. The next organization that is in this mix that not too many people talk about is Bank of America. They've got a 1.25 billion racial equality commitment to Black entrepreneurs. They fund Black entrepreneurs, affordable housing, and job training program. Now, how many of you have heard of these programs? Many of you haven't, because the program exists. They create the programs, but they don't really promote it. They don't talk much about it, because here's what happens. And I'm going to tell you the tricks of this trade. When these big corporations put together programs like these, they will mention it once, maybe in a newsletter, or they'll talk about it to chambers or different organizations, and then that's it. Never talk about it again until the time frame comes up where the expiration date runs out. So then when they file their annual reports and they file their CRA, Community Reinvestment Act report, they said, well, we've got these programs for Black entrepreneurs, and we want to help them to climb up that economic ladder. So this is what we do. They get credit for that. They get credit for that, even though they said they're doing it, but they don't really do it because they don't really promote it a lot. So I'm stepping in to let you guys know they're getting credit for that, so you should get credit too. So you want to tap into these programs. So Chase, JP Morgan Chase, they have a 30 billion commitment. Bank of America has a $1.2 billion commitment. They call it racial equality commitment. Okay. And that is to fund Black businesses, affordable housing, and job training programs. Then PayPal. PayPal has a program too. It's called Empowerment, and it's a grant program. It provides grant and resources for Black-owned businesses through partnership with nonprofits and CDFI. And CDFI is a Community Development Funding Institute. What is that, Crystal? Because I know you work with those organizations a lot, right? It's called Community Development Financial Institution. Yeah, that's
right.
What
the FDC. Yeah.
CDFI. Yeah. So you guys, you need to tap into these organizations: JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and PayPal. They have these programs. Go to their website, go in the search column. It's for empowering Black entrepreneur and Black economics. So you check it out. All right.
And
so go ahead,
Gilbert.
Chloe.
So in the city of Los Angeles, there are a number of CDFIs. One of them
Mm-hmm.
is PCR, Pacific Coast Regional Center. You
Mm-hmm.
also have, and that one is actually connected to the SBA. You
Mm-hmm.
have Vermont Slauson Economic Development Corporation. They are the
Mm-hmm.
CDFI.
Yeah.
There's a few others that are out there. Lindustry, I believe, is one. And so
Mm-hmm.
you really truly, and I guess we take things for granted, right? Because we've
Yeah.
been doing the work that we do for a very, very long time. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went to the Urban League when I've known a lot about the Urban League for all my life, right? So when I first was in the in the corporate world, they had a workforce program, a development program. So you went there to find a job right out of college. And
Mm-hmm.
then they had programs for entrepreneurs, and the same thing with PCR, with all of the quite a few of the chambers, the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber, PACE, which is the Asian Chamber, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. These all have what we call technical assistant programs, and they're funded by those dollars you're talking about, Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I have been very surprised of late, and I have to tell you, I coach a lot of people on a weekly basis. I have
Mm-hmm.
been absolutely surprised at how many do not know about these programs.
Wow.
They are
Wow.
just hearing them about them when I referred them to them. Now they may hear about Vermont Slauson because it actually has a lending arm, but they didn't know that there was an urban league that provided technical courses, and they didn't know that the chambers had it. They didn't know that there was a PCR or any of that. And so,
Hmm.
which is interesting in today's time when everything is digitally at your fingertips. So just know, guys, that
Hmm.
these organizations are out here with which provides. And I have a friend, Robin Billups, that hates for you to say that these are free programs. What she says is these are your tax dollars at work, and
Yeah.
you must take care of. You must take advantage of them because your dollars are going in to these programs in order to help you become better business owners. So we want you guys to know that you are not out here alone. There are tons of programs, and that's just in Los Angeles. There are
Yeah.
programs in the Valley. There are programs in San Bernardino. There are programs all up and down the coastline of the state of California. I will have to say this, though. We probably have more programs available to us across uh, than most states do. The Urban League, though, is an affiliate of the National Urban League, and so they have programs across the country in various states as well. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to add that too. So that's how you go to get those dollars. You can't necessarily go to B of A or you can't go to JP Morgan.
Right.
You have to
Right.
go to those CDFIs and
Right.
you have to know where they are. Just do a Google search on CDFIs in Los Angeles or in the state that you're in, and they
Yeah.
will pop out. And then a Google search on all of the technical assistant organizations that provide um, free, we're going to use that word for now, on free services
At,
for you as
at,
a small
at
business
no
owner.
cost.
At
No
no
cost.
cost. Yeah, at no cost. Services and coaching for you at no cost. But here in Los Angeles, there's the Southern Los Angeles CDFI Consortium. There's the City of Los Angeles Business Source Centers. I think you worked for the mayor and all of that stuff, didn't you,
Yeah.
Gilbert?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
Um, there's the Clearinghouse CDFI. There's the CalCap for small businesses. There are Jumpstart microloans. There are small business loans, but there are a lot of there's some other grants and stuff out there. But there are so many opportunities for you. And the one thing that's different between a CDFI and a bank is that CDFI sit down and talk with you and get to know who you are. A lot of times they have better products for you. They're a lot more forgiving than a bank is. They will talk to you. I know Vermont Slauson for sure will have a conversation if you get behind in your payments. They want to know. You want to tell everyone when you're getting behind. But with them, they won't default on the loan. What they will do is put it on the back end of it and work with you to help you with that technical assistance to increase your your ability to drive more revenue, to bring in more revenue so you have money to pay for your loan. So just know a lot more friendlier to you than your typical traditional bank. And banks can't be that way because banks
Right.
are not in the business for that. Banks, when they provide you loans, that is actually their product or their service and their interest is how they drive revenue. That's their revenue source. So just understanding how money works, understanding the banking system, understanding how we did a show on this a couple weeks ago. How do you leverage from failure in order to be successful? So if you want to go back to our YouTube channel and check that out, you actually, if you understand the system and you understand how, John Hope Bryan says, if you understand how the game is played, you got to learn the rules of the game in order to be successful out there. You can't come out here with no armor and no rules and understand how they play it.
And it's important to know, guys, since we're celebrating Juneteenth here, in order to help promote Black economics, I just want you guys to know that CDFIs, just remember this, CDFIs, or they're primarily Black led. That means most of the folks in there, they're geared towards helping to strengthen the Black communities, because they know the struggle that the Black communities go through. And they know that many of these folks, they've tried, but they hit those barriers. So many of them are Black led, and they prioritize Black borrowers so that many of you can get low interest rate loans, very affordable loans, and financial services. And this is usually designated in the underserved communities, including historically Black neighborhoods. Some of those we call hub zones, historically underutilized business zones. Those are hub zones. So just keep that in mind. Those are usually the community. And one other program I want to talk about real quickly, which my co-host is a part of. I know we're a little bit over 4:30 here, but the Minority Business Development Agency, MBDA, that's another source that many minorities can tap into, because it's a federal agency and it's focused exclusively on helping minority business enterprises to sustain themselves. They provide technical assistance, they provide grant funding from time to time to Black and other minority entrepreneurs, and they're out there. And many of them, the funds is funneled through chambers. So it could be the Asian chamber, the Hispanic chamber, Black chamber, the different types of chambers are out there, and the MBDA is funneled through that. Now, I know the Los Angeles Urban League had launched an MBDA program recently, which my co-host is intimately involved in. So, co-host, you want to talk about that real quickly so they have an idea of how that program works for you?
Yes. So yes, we had a program. Right now, we're kind of on hold because of what's going on in the federal government.
Mhm.
So they put the program on hold, but we ran multiple cohorts where, again, you receive technical assistance and some amazing information for you to grow your business. And so I think we did actually 4 cohorts. We just finished our last one, so now we got to see how it's going to be revamped. There was no grants or anything on one side of it, but you were getting some incredible resources. But unfortunately, right now, the MBDA programs are being affected by the exclusion of DEI in the federal government. So just be patient, guys. We'll be back. We just got to get through this stuff that we got to go through right now, but we will be
Give,
back. Uh,
give them about 4 years. 4 years, there'll be a resurgence in the real programs and the right programs to help minority groups. So yeah.
But there's some other programs out there.
Yeah.
The Goldman Sachs program, excellent program. That is like the top. That's the creme of the creme de la creme. If you get selected for the Goldman Sachs program, you can go online and Google that. That program, again, excellent technical assistance. You see your business from different eyeballs, and when you come out, most of the businesses that I know that have been there, but there are certain criteria. You have to be in the business, I think, 4 to 5 years, and you have to be generating more than I want to say $50,000 in net revenue, I believe is what it is. But the Goldman Sachs is an absolute awesome program. It's also without cost. But you have to be selected for it, and you do have to meet a certain criteria to be in it. There are a number of for those of females or women that are in business. There are a number of women's business centers that have some resources on the side of it. And again, you get these this incredible information. It's the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And recently I had someone on my other podcast, the Community Briefing, talking about that. So if you go over to the Community Briefing, you can hear her talk about it. But everyone that I know that have gone through that program, oh my God, it is like, it's amazing. So they've have over 100 and they have about 16,000 graduates across the United States, DC and Puerto Rico. And so you can go online to see what the eligibility is. But the sole purpose of the Goldman Sachs program is for revenue growth. Generally, they almost guarantee at least a double to triple increase in revenue once you complete the program. Job creation is another component of it, and usually many of the alumni create a large percentage of the job opportunities that are out there. So if you guys go check out the website, it's called 10K sbapply.com. It is not being affected by anything going on in the government at the present moment. So if
Yeah,
you qualify,
it's because it's privately funded. That's part of the J.P. Morgan Chase commitment to Black entrepreneurship. That's part of that 30 billion that they commit.
okay. And so that's what you have to see is where are these programs and how are they being delivered to you? And then if you qualify, then you want to apply. So some of the qualifications are you have to be a owner or a co-owner or a business. There is a qualification as far as revenue. You cannot be a new business that are just coming out. If you apply now, if you apply by November 25th, they've already accepted the May quarter, and that cohort goes from September to December. But if you get in from November, you can apply by November 25th to get into the January to April 26 program. They're approximately 3 months long. Excellent program. I highly recommend it if your business is at that place where you're ready to go to that next level.
Is it an online program?
Some of it is online. There are. I want to say there are one component is that you go to New York, and I think that's the last part of it where you go to New York and you complete the program there. But most of them are online. Most of it is online.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I believe we've shared some very valuable information today regarding Juneteenth, regarding Black economics, regarding how folks can work together across cultures to really sustain this economy, increase our GDP. And I often say this, by pooling our resources, guys, we can build that type of revenue that we want. We've got 15% African American in the U.S. economy and about 39% Latino. You put that together, what do you have? You've got 33, right? 34? I mean, 54%, right? So 54% now make us dominant. So if just with the Latinos and Blacks alone, we're dominant. Can you imagine we add some Asians and some other groups in there? So that's how I want you guys to think about growing your business, guys. There's always a way. Just remember this. Entrepreneurship is born out of the need for necessity. When something is horrible, something is horribly wrong, and you need to fix it, then that's where you see entrepreneurship is born. When the slaves had to iron clothes and they couldn't figure out how to do it in a comfortable way, and so that it didn't cause them backache and all of that stuff and burns, they created the ironing board, right? And they were able to do that when it was too hot. and they couldn't function. They created air conditioner. So that's what I'm talking. That's entrepreneurship right there. I was in the industry, started back in whenever. I've been in the industry for 30 years, right? And when I was at LAUSD and LACCD, I saw where small businesses had a tough time having to produce their documents on the spot in order to get government contracts. You know, they would come in and say, hey, I'm looking for government contract. Oh, come on in, no problem. Hey, but first we want to see this document. Show us your financials. We want to see your balance sheet, your profit and loss, your statement of cash flow, tax returns for the last 3 years. Oh, by the way, we want your capability statement. We would also love a statement of qualifications. Oh, hey, you have employees? We want to see some workers' comp insurance. So all of those things they'd be asking for from small businesses. Small businesses, they don't know where that is. You know, a lot of small businesses don't keep records. So they're going, oh, where am I going to find this? Where am I going to get it? So I saw that as a pain point for small business, and that's why I created Small Biz Pro. Small Biz Pro is that back office system that will allow entrepreneurs to store their documents in one place so they can access it using their smartphone and in seconds retrieving those documents and producing it to contract providers so they don't miss out on opportunities. So that's what we did. That's how we came up with Small Biz Pro. And that was one of the inventions that we came up with, and my company was responsible for that. So those are the things that entrepreneurs do. We provide solutions to pain points in the marketplace. So my co-host, she's working on some invention that's going to really alleviate some of the problems that bookkeepers have. But it's just a matter of time, guys. Just a matter of time. So go ahead, co-host.
No, you have to, yeah, you have to use your talents, your skills, and as long as you're solving a problem in the marketplace that exists, wherever that is, you have the basic formula for success in business. If there's no need for the product, if it's not solving a problem, you will have a harder a time attracting those customers to you. But those customers that have a problem, they'll come flocking
Yeah.
to you. But you do have to advertise. But continue to stay tuned to us, guys. We are going to sign off for this week. But I think can be another series of how we can grow our business.
Matter of fact, we'll do a part two next week. Part two, Juneteenth, because next week will be the 19th, and next week will be
right,
Juneteenth.
exactly.
So
Juneteenth. So we'll talk about that and some resources, and share some other. We'll do some other research. I do know I would like to share. John Hope Bryan wrote a book called "The 5 Rules for Economic Liberation." There's a book out there by Dr. Claude Anderson on powernomics. There's blueprints everywhere. So I guess we just need to talk about them so you
that's
guys
right.
can and present a call to action for us to rev up and change our mindset and take control of our $20 trillion or $2 trillion consumer power and use it to work for us, and move forward. So with that, what we want to do though is we'll be back next Friday, which would be the day after Juneteenth. But Juneteenth is like anything else. For us, it's 365 days, just like Black History Month is 365 days a year, because this is who you are. But I do want to wish all the dads a happy Father's Day. Dads don't get the same kind of recognition that moms do.
Thank you,
So
co-host.
happy.
Thank you for wishing me.
That's right. You are a father this year. Happy Father's Day. I forgot. You acquired a daughter throughout the year. So happy Father's Day, co-host. And so we're taking my brother-in-law out for a breakfast, no, lunch, and then we're going to a Dodger game for
That
Father's
sounds
Day.
like
But
fun.
yes,
That
so
sounds like a wholesome,
yeah.
fun event.
Yeah, my nephew. He is the event planner in the family. So he takes us on these wonderful little
I love
excursions.
that.
So happy Father's Day out there to all of you men. Whether you actually the child is yours, or like myself, or you find yourself adopting children. So if you adopted, you're an uncle, you're a mentor. If you are having some type of influence on young people, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day and thanking you for your input to the young people in our community. It takes a village to raise a
That's
child.
right.
And so,
That's right.
all righty, guys. So we're going to sign off. Next week, I'll have fun, exciting stories and to share with the new kids, my new entrepreneurs that are coming, that are going to be developed. So by the end of June. And so I'm looking forward to telling you guys about them. So you guys have a fantastic weekend. Be safe out there if you're in any city at this point. I believe there are going to be massive protests, peaceful protests across the country. So be safe out there. Don't put yourself in any danger. Don't put your families in any danger. For the Hispanic, Latino community, and actually anyone else that is here in this country, be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your rights. Also know that you do not have to let anyone in your
That's
home
right.
at all if they don't have a warrant.
That is
So
true.
keep your doors closed, protect yourself and protect your children. There's some dangerous areas out there. So you have to now worry about yourself. Make sure you have a pipeline or a calling tree to friends and relatives to let them know where you are and if you need assistance. And especially if you find yourself in a situation that your children are going to be left alone, reach out to people. You have a number of allies out here, and we don't want you harmed, and we definitely don't want your children to be any more traumatized than they are. So with that, we're going to sign off and have a fantastic weekend, guys, and we'll see you next Friday, same time.
Personas de negocios. You have a happy Father's Day, and be careful out there, Latinos. Mi gente. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a business